Alberta's Dental College is investigating how 4-year-old girl Amber Atwal suffered permanent brain damage during a trip to the dentist. Her dentist, Dr. William Mather, has already pleaded guilty to 3 of 5 charges of professional misconduct. Today he will take the stand in his own defense. Duncan Embury is the lawyer for the Atwal family who are suing Dr. Mather and his staff in a separate trial. He's been closely watching and following the hearing so far and will be there again today. Good morning, Duncan.
Good morning, Mark.
So far, the tribunal has heard from a few witnesses, along with experts in the field. What testimony has stood out for you?
Well, I think the thing that stands out is really the level of monitoring or the gaps in monitoring during Amber's care. The vital signs were last recorded about 35 minutes before EMS were called, and there's a real gap in there. That's really what stands out.
An anesthesiologist also spoke and called into question what Mather's dentist said. What did he take issue with?
In terms of the expert that the college called, what he took issue with really was, well, maybe every level of the anesthetic care that Amber was provided, but in particular the recovery care after the procedure was done and before the emergency was discovered.
And overall, does it make it look like so many mistakes were made that could have been prevented?
There's certainly a lot of reason to be concerned about whether this was an incident that could have been completely avoided with different care pathways being followed.
What were some of the things that Dr. Patterson, who was the expert, what did he say that should have been done or that could have?
The first thing that Dr. Patterson pointed to was whether or not the procedure ever should have been done in the first place on that day, given that Amber had eaten some breakfast that morning, which is a contraindication to anesthetic. Certainly the response in terms of when CPR was started and what steps were taken, Dr. Patterson took some issue with.
Now, Dr. Mather, the dentist in question, will be speaking in his own defense today. Tell us more about what he's admitted so far, because he has pleaded guilty to 3 of the 5 charges.
So the charges, and of course I'm not running the prosecution, so right. I'm hearing it in the gallery like everybody else, but the charges that he has admitted to really center on charting and some billing issues, but are not really centered on Amber's care or the anesthetic care or monitoring that she received. Those ones are still for this tribunal to determine.
What's it been like for the Atwal family to follow this?
Well, Amber's father, Raman, has sat through every word of the evidence. I think it's absolutely critical to him and to the family to understand with a lot more clarity exactly what did happen and to their daughter. That he's remained very stoic and listening to the evidence, but it's having a large effect on him.
Because obviously there's some things that they're hearing that they didn't know.
I think there's quite a few things that he's hearing that they didn't know, and I think to hear an expert in the field say that there were very simple things that could have been done that would have prevented this entire tragedy must be very, very difficult for a father or any family member to hear.
And I would imagine with the dentist, Dr. Mather, speaking today, he will be there, and that will also be difficult, I would think.
Yes, Raman is planning to be there today, and I think it will be a very difficult day, but hopefully, again, it will bring greater clarity and understanding and helping him and the family understand just what happened and what went wrong during Amber's care. And
the outcome of this hearing, will it have an impact on litigation outside this?
It may. It is a separate proceeding than the civil lawsuit that is ongoing, but certainly it obviously centers around the same events, and I think all of the parties involved will be paying close attention to what happens in this hearing.
How far along is the civil litigation?
It's really in its early stages. The next step really is to understand what Amber's needs are going forward and make sure those are fully protected and certainly her rehabilitative care is maximized.
I know that there has been a GoFundMe campaign. Have people been willing to help out the family?
They have, and there was a fundraiser a few months ago where there was quite a turnout from the community to help the family get a wheelchair accessible vehicle to help them. So there is an outpouring of support from the community, certainly.
Duncan, thanks for coming in to talk about this, and I'm sure we'll have more questions as this moves forward.
My pleasure. Thanks, Mark.
Duncan Embury is a lawyer for Amber Atwall's family who are suing dentist Dr. William Mather. Dr. Mather is speaking in his own defense today at a dental college hearing.